Welcome back to Cobertizo. This is part 4 of this exciting tale. If you're new to the channel, chapter 1 can be found in the link in the description. Now go ahead and find your cozy spot, close your eyes, and let's dive into the world of Cobertizo. Chapter 4 Hallucination. What was that? Mirabel looked around. She thought she heard something to their left. Julieta stopped and followed her gaze, but saw nothing but the mists surrounding them. What was what? There was something there. I heard a whooshing sound. I think your nerves are on edge. I didn't hear anything. Come on, we're almost there. She patted her daughter's arm and pulled her along. We might still be able to stop Bruno from going to Cobertizo. Mom, why would Cobertizo go if it's so dangerous? What is Cobertizo? Clop, clop, clop. Mom! She held her mom's arms tightly with a squeeze. What was that? Shh! I didn't hear anything. Now be quiet. You don't want to upset the spirits. Mom, I heard a noise, she whispered. Her hands trembled in fright. Her feet stumbled over nothing and made her wince from the noise. Every hair on her arm and neck was standing on edge. Julieta stopped. A chill went down her spine. Why did you say a horse? Because I heard one! Tell me you heard that! It came from right in front of them. The mists were near blinding. Mirabel peered into the shadows and swore she could see something moving. Something was pushing the fog towards them, closer and closer. I don't hear anything. Are you sure? Look out! Mirabel pushed her mom away from the dark horse that reared up and screamed, Mirabel! The girl looked back at the creature. It didn't have solid lines, as though it were made of some dark, bubbling smoke with glowing yellow eyes as bright as fire. Worse now was that there was something on top of the horse. She looked up to a dark figure riding it that pulled out a sword. Mom, run! Run! Mirabel screeched. She grabbed her mom's arm and ran through the dark fog back the way she thought they'd come from. The horse and its rider followed, swinging the sword back and forth wildly. It sliced through vines and branches that fell with a crash right beside them. Julieta's foot snagged, and she tumbled to the ground. The rider lifted its sword high above Julieta's head. Mirabel had no time to think. She couldn't move. She couldn't even scream from the pure horror that towered over them. The rider swung. Mirabel squeezed her eyes shut and hugged her mom tightly. Brrrung. There was a thud beside the girl. The horse's scream cut through the forest along with Mirabel's own. Then nothing. A heavy silence settled over them. Mirabel never remembered what happened shortly after that, only the cold, wet hands that picked her up and dragged her away. What happened to her? Where were you? Will she be okay? Mirabel woke slowly to voices surrounding her. Who were they? She couldn't think. Where am I? What happened? She thought. For a moment, all seemed muddy to her mind. Then the vision of the horse and rider flashed before her. She screamed and held her arms up to defend herself. Dots speckled her vision when she opened her eyes. Shh, 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 it's okay. Augustine cooed and helped her lie back down. I'm here. You're safe, Nina. Dad, is that you? She couldn't see past the dots. She felt his hand, the strong, sturdy hand that she recognized as the one she'd held since she was a little girl. Mirabel! Oh, thank goodness! You're okay! What happened? Everyone, you're crowding! Abuela ushered all of the kids out of the room. Antonio pushed past them and ran to the bed where Mirabel still couldn't see. So what happened? Camilo, get out of there and stop bugging your prima! Peppa scolded him from the doorway. Antonio shifted into a guilty Camilo, who shrugged with a smile. Glad you're okay. The dizziness and the dots faded away just as the door closed, and Mirabel was able to make out the room in full clarity. Her parents both sat beside her, with worry etched all over their faces. Her favorite flowers were strung about the room from Isabella, and the stuffed animal Mirabel made for Antonio sat next to her on the bed. Mom? How did we get back here? What happened to the horse and that rider? Horse and rider? Agustin looked to Julieta for an explanation. She didn't mention anything like that when she returned.
They were made of smoke or something, and the rider had this huge, humongous sword, and it was slashing all the vines and trees, and it was going to attack us when you fell. Tell him, Mom!
Julieta looked confused and shook her head slowly. Mirabel, there was no horse. There was no rider. What? You said you saw those things, but there was nothing there.
What? No, I saw it. It chased us, I swear. I'm not making this up.
I'm sorry, honey. I didn't see or hear any of that. Your fear must have caused those hallucinations. Julieta wasn't sure what to think. She never saw or heard anything before her daughter started screaming and pulling her off the path. The branches she heard crashing behind them were the ones that Mirabel had pushed out of their way. There was no sound or sight of a horse, or even room for one in the thick trees Mirabel was going through.
But...
Open, Julieta instructed and popped in a pan de baño. She held her daughter's chin in her hand. It's okay. We're all here. We're all safe.
What about Tio Bruno?
Julieta took a deep breath and looked out the window. It was late, and all the town was lit up by soft, glowing lanterns that were slowly being blown out, one by one. Agustin held his wife's hands. He's in the tower, sweetheart. He's locked himself in. He hasn't talked to anyone since he brought you back. Mirabel bit her lip. She wanted to talk to Bruno, to make sure he was okay. Agustin pet her head and kissed it. I'm glad you're both all right. Now it's been a crazy day, and my girls need their rest. All right?
Sure, Dad. I love you guys.
And I love you. Agustin rubbed her head. And I love you. Julieta hugged her daughter tightly and whispered, We'll never go near that place ever again. Mirabel watched her parents leave the room and listened to all the voices of her family outside groan when they were told to go to sleep. She tried to sleep. She tossed and turned in her bed, thinking about the events in the forest.
How did Bruno find us? Where was he?
She thought. When she finally dozed off, the vision of the horse and rider with its sword raised stood before her. Clang! The noise woke her. The sound almost seemed to echo throughout the house, but nothing caused it that she could see. Try as much as she might, sleep evaded her. Finally, the young girl got up and left her room, just in time to see something in the shadows shift on the far side of the wall. And that is the end of chapter 4. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications when new chapters are uploaded. Until next chapter, may God bless you with a wonderful day.